All right, we are very excited to be here with Coach Scott Satterfield of the University of Cincinnati. Now moving on to the Big 12. Coach, welcome to the PFF NFL podcast.
Appreciate it. Glad to be here.
Welcome to Cincinnati, first of all, right? This is how's it going so far?
It's been awesome, wide open. From the time we got here in December to now, hiring staff, getting a bunch of guys in the building, trying to get to know our players. The first month and a half you're recruiting, so you don't even get to know your own players, your own team, which is very weird in this day and age. But that's the way it is. We had a great spring. We just finished that off last week, and now we're looking forward to this summer and getting our guys back in here.
All right, we'll wrap it up talking we'll look forward in a couple minutes here, looking at the Big 12 and everything you guys have going on. But you're coming over from Louisville. There's a bunch of top prospects, a couple edge defenders, Yaya Diaby, Yasir Abdullah might convert to linebacker at the next level. What can you tell us about those guys?
Yeah, first of all, I think, Yasir was a guy who was a big special teams guy when we first got to Louisville, but he had extreme explosiveness. He could really, really run, but he would go to full to empty really quick. Over those years, he develops a great stamina and was an outstanding player that came off the edge for us. But he was a do-it-all type player. He'd rush the passer, very scared a lot of teams with him coming off the edge. But he also can cover in the pass defense as well. So he had a big pick against, I think it was Pitt this past year. An outstanding player. Doesn't say a whole lot, but just plays his butt off. Yaya, he's going to look the part when he walks in the room. Very tall, very good size, 6'4", 275. Can run, explosive, love the way he plays the game, and a great kid that you're going to love to have in an organization. So I'm really high on both of those guys. I think Yaya probably fits maybe the profile more as you think about body type compared to Yasir. Yasir is going to be a little bit more undersized, but I think makes up for it with his speed.
Yaya's in this mix of a whole bunch of edge defenders that might go as high as round 2, as low as round 4. So there's a whole group of those guys there. And Abdullah, perhaps maybe a move to linebacker? You said he's got those coverage skills. He weighs about 237.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where I think maybe fit is going to be the right word there in which organization, because he doesn't have the 6'4" length maybe that guys are looking for, but he can run. He's got good cover skills. He doesn't have the hips like maybe say a corner may have, but a little bit more like a safety. But I think he's going to be very versatile. I think he'll be a big-time teams player, but also a guy that they can bring off the edge and pass rush. I think that's probably going to be his strength.
A couple other Louisville players from last year. Keitrell Clark is in this draft, cornerback, and then quarterback Malik Cunningham. Perhaps a late-round pick. What would NFL teams be getting in those guys?
Yeah, Keitrell Clark, number one, very confident player. And I think when you think about a corner, they better have that confidence. He came in, he transferred in from Liberty, was a freshman starter at Liberty, came into our place, earned his spot, ended up starting that first year, and was an all-ACC performer. He's a player that can really defend. He's not scared to walk up and press, and has great hips, can flip his hips, but he also has great instinct, I think, and he's got good ball skills. So he's a guy, I think, to be able to make some plays as a one-on-one corner in the NFL. I think teams are pretty high on him as well. And when you think about Cunningham's a guy who basically started from day one. Our whole time we were there for 4 years. Cunningham, obviously, his strength is his legs. In this day and age in NFL, I think teams are very intrigued by that. The fact that he can move the chains and create some big plays. Like Lamar. The thing that's different to him is he's a little bit shorter. He's about a 6-foot player. But I tell you, a clean pocket, he can throw the football as well. So I think he's very intriguing at that level to be having an opportunity to go in there and make some noise. I think I'm excited about the opportunity for him to get into a good organization that will utilize his ability.
How have you seen Malik Cunningham improve over the years? 4-year starters, you mentioned continuous improvement every single year.
Yeah, I think with him, the big thing was that not trying to do too much, not trying to say, hey, listen, give me the ball, let me make it happen. Hey, utilize the talent that is around you. And I thought 2 years ago he had his best year. I thought his junior year, really distributing the football. He took care of the ball as well. I think he only had 6 interceptions 2 years ago with right at 39 touchdowns responsible for. So a dynamic playmaker, and I think he's been able to get better and better throughout the whole course of his career there. And really just mentally learning the game, learning the things that he needs to learn in order to make great plays. And he's definitely exciting to watch and was a fun player to coach as well.
So you're coming over to Cincinnati, a bunch of their draftable players. They've sent a lot to the NFL. Sauce Gardner last year, number 4 overall pick, our highest rated corner last year. But as far as this draft class, we see wide receivers like Tyler Scott. The consensus board has him at number 7 among receivers right now. There's all sorts of undersized, fast receivers. Tyler Scott's in that mix. One of my favorites, Ivan Pace Jr. at linebacker. Love him. So you didn't get to coach these guys directly, but what are you seeing from some of the Cincinnati prospects right now?
Yeah, I mean, I think the two things that stand out really, the two wide receivers, they're fast and faster. I mean, they both can run. I think Tyler Scott to me has a little bit more length than I anticipated when I met him. He's a little bit taller. I think maybe can do some things with that size and speed combination that he has. And Trey Tucker's obviously a player that's very productive, a thick type player. As you mentioned, there's probably more players that look like him. Quite honestly, but he can run. Both of those guys I think have a big upside in what they can do, and obviously in the return game as well. And Ivan Pace is a guy that all he does is make plays. Like, it's hard to turn your head on that production. Turn the film on, and he's going to be in on most tackles. I had the opportunity to go down to Senior Bowl. I watched him down there practice, and even in practice, I mean, he's wide open. His motor does not stop. To me, players like that get better and better each and every year, and I think that's what he's been able to do throughout his career in transferring over to Cincinnati. So I think if he gets an opportunity and a chance, he's going to have a great chance to make a team just because of the production he's going to be able to put on the field. Also, he'll be on every special team that they have. And he's got that mentality and that attitude, so I'm excited about what he'll be able to do.
You mentioned the Senior Bowl. I don't think I've seen one-on-ones as one-sided as Ivan Pace rushing the passer against running backs. The pass rush drills were ridiculous. Nobody even got a hand on him.
Yeah, he's got a knack for maneuvering his body in a way where they can't get their hands on him. I think sometimes the bigger linebackers will come in and end up basically running right down the middle of the running back, so the running back has an opportunity to protect that. He has a knack to get low, to bend, to torque his body in a way to get around the running back to be right in front of the quarterback. It happened in the bowl game. Of course, I was at Louisville. We ended up playing Cincinnati in the bowl game.
That was crazy. I love that,
which is crazy. Had nothing to do with it, but I did watch it. And in that game, Brian Hudson's an outstanding center for Louisville, and had him one-on-one. He did the same thing that you're talking about. He went right around him, did not get touched, and sacked the quarterback. He's got a great knack for that. But again, it's just his ability to get around the football, to make those tackles. He's an exciting player to watch, and I think he's got a great opportunity.
Yeah, I'm always intrigued by a linebacker that can rush the passer like that, even if you just get him in nickel and dime packages, and he's used as that extra rusher or whatever it might be, mismatch creator. So I love Ivan Pace. I also love the note that's been handed me. Cincinnati has 13 draft picks over the last 2 years, the most of any current Big 12 team. So you guys go into the Big 12 with a nice reputation, a hot streak here for Cincinnati. What's this transition going to be like for the program?
No, I think that's outstanding. I think, and also when you add these guys, so there'll be 3 years, and maybe 3 or 4 more guys going to be added to that mix. I think that's going to be, something that certainly we're using in recruiting. I can promise you that. I think, obviously we got to continue to bring those type of players in. I think the one thing that really stands out to me at Cincinnati is the development of players. And so if you think back over a lot of years, not just the last 2 years, there's been a lot of guys that have come in. You think about the Kelsey brothers. One was a walk-on, one was a quarterback that turned tight end. Yeah. He's now, what they've been able to accomplish with players like that, to the development, players that train with the chip on their shoulders. I think those are great college football players, but I also think they end up being great pros and at the next level because nothing has been given to these guys. They've had to earn everything. They work every single day. Guys like that, they continue to get better and better each and every year. And I think we're seeing that now with some of these guys. You think about 3 different position players in the NFL, maybe arguably the 3 best in that position, all played at Cincinnati.
So our listeners, we talk team building a lot here, mostly from an NFL perspective, but college is starting to mirror the NFL quite a bit with the transfer portal. It's basically free agency right now. How has team building changed at the college level, and how do you apply, how do you adjust to some of those differences now, especially coming to a new program?
Wow, it's extremely difficult. I mean, roster management is the hardest thing that we have to deal with now as head coaches. And what you're seeing now, and this has happened over the last, 2, 3, 4 years, is our scouting departments are mirroring the NFL scouting department. Yeah. So it's very similar. You used to only have maybe, one person in recruiting. Now, now you have a team and an army of people that are in that department because you're constantly scouting, not only high school players, junior college players, but also other teams' players like they do in the NFL.
Yeah.
So it's very similar to that. The difference right now, is, as I see it, is there's really not many rules in college. We have a lot better structure in the NFL because I think these things happen so fast at this level. With the NIL opportunities for these guys to make money, but also the opportunity to go able to play at another school. And when you combine those two, it creates free agency, and that's kind of where we're at right now. And so there's not a lot of downtime for us. We don't have the kind of scouting departments they have at the NFL to get all that kind of help. So we have to do a much better job with that, but there's no rest. I mean, you could constantly work and watching film, evaluating, bringing players in, and that's kind of the period that we are in right now is the evaluation period in the transfer portal.
The transfer portal has just recently opened up once again last week. And so the difference with the NFL is they pretty much know who the free agents are going to be. You get 300 players or so that are hitting free agency, and you have a couple players that are on the trading block. But in college, you really don't know. You can anticipate who might transfer, who's a backup, who might be, but you don't know. You don't know who's actually hitting the portal, so you do have to have some idea of everybody across the nation.
No question. A great example, when I come into Cincinnati and the transition from Coach Fick that goes to Wisconsin from me coming in, our one place that got hit hard was the wide receiver room. We talked about two of them right here.
Yeah.
We also had 7 others get in the portal and leave. In a room that basically you're looking at around 10 or 11 scholarship players, and we come in here, there's one left of last year's team.
Wow.
And that's hard to replace. And so we're trying now to do that. We brought some guys in, some high school guys, and now we're looking to still bring in some more of the college players. And so, as a head coach of our school, I don't even know who's getting in the portal. You just don't know, and so we finished spring practice, and all of a sudden now we're having our conferences with our football players last week, and guys are coming in saying, hey, where do you see me playing at? And how can I be utilized on this team? And if not, I may want to look to go somewhere else. It's the world we're in. We don't like it. We are in this college game trying to create more rules for it to where we can at least have some sort of a structure when we're dealing with this type thing of the portal. And, we're not there yet. And so hopefully we'll get there soon.
Let's wrap it up with this. As a head coach, you're coming into a program that has had some success over the last couple of years. What are you doing? What's Cincinnati going to look like going forward? What are your types of players? Who's going to be coming in, and who we're going to be seeing here in Cincinnati as we move to the Big 12?
Yeah, I mean, I think obviously we want to get the type of players that can play at a high level. I think, it's still a player's game. I mean, the better players you have, obviously the more opportunity you're going to be able to score points and to stop people. So, we're looking for a type of player that, quite honestly, the Cincinnati's had in the past. Guys that come in and work hard, that earn everything, that have a chance and an ability to go play at the next level. Because I think, obviously, those type players are going to win a lot of games for you. That's what's happened in the past, and that's what hopefully will continue to happen in the future. We know in the Big 12, we have to step our game up. Week in and week out, you're going to be playing these kind of teams that have a lot of talent that are going on to the next level. So are we going to be able to win those matchups? Because it all breaks down to one-on-one matchups at every position. And so we got to be able to win our share of those and continue to find a great quarterback, because we all know the quarterback's the one position at the NFL all the way to Pee-wees that you better have a good player. So hopefully we'll get some great players in here and continue the great tradition that Cincinnati Bearcat football is all about.
So Oklahoma comes in to kick off the Big 12 schedule September 23rd. I got to go to that game. I'm going to have to stop by for that one. But it's great. It's a whole different schedule. We're going to see Oklahoma. You guys go to BYU for a Friday night game. BYU's in the Big 12. It's a whole lot of new conference realignment to get used to this year. But looking forward to it. Yeah,
it's going to be very exciting. We have 7 home games this year, like you mentioned, starting with Oklahoma in the Big 12 there, and our first Big 12 opponent. We're very excited about it. I know there's a lot of great opportunity for us, and to play some great teams, to go visit some new stadiums. We get to go to Oklahoma State. You mentioned BYU, going out to Houston. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be fun. So hopefully with that, Nippert it'll be awesome. I know it will be.
Looking forward to it. Well, Coach, appreciate you taking the time here, and best of luck.
Thank you. Appreciate it.